Tiffany Henyard has a new battle on her hands.
She is being evicted for not paying her rent, and now her landlord is talking about her past tenant troubles.
At some point, you would have to understand that karma is going to catch up to you.
Tiffany Henyard, a self-proclaimed super mayor, has recently faced a dramatic fall from grace, raising eyebrows and concerns about accountability in local politics. Just months ago, she was living the high life in Las Vegas, flaunting her lavish lifestyle while hard-working council members were being forced out of office. Now, however, her once glamorous existence appears to be unraveling as investigations into her financial activities intensify. Henyard's lifestyle has been nothing short of extravagant. She has been seen adorned in high-end fashion, often accompanied by a police detail, costing over $1 million. Her spending habits are astonishing, reportedly spending nearly $8,000 on hair and makeup alone. On one infamous trip to Las Vegas, she racked up $8,400 on hotels, $600 for a single steakhouse dinner, and an astounding $33,700 on round-trip airfare. While residents of Dalton, Illinois, are grappling with everyday hardships, Henyard seems more focused on jet-setting and self-promotion, even investing over $1 million on campaign billboards as scrutiny mounts over her lavish expenditures. It seems that karma is beginning to catch up with her. Henyard is now battling serious financial issues, including the potential loss of her home. Court documents reveal that she and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, have defaulted on their rent since August after their landlord raised it by $200 to $2,400 a month due to increased property taxes. The couple now owes a staggering $3,350, yet they allegedly prioritize luxury travel over fulfilling their rent obligations, frustrated by the situation. The landlord filed an eviction notice on September 18th. She claims to have to hire a special process server to serve the eviction notice, which has only added to her mounting expenses. Despite Henyard's assertion that she doesn't lack financial resources, her actions suggest otherwise. The couple's refusal to pay rent and their avoidance of the landlord, including blocking communication for months, have pushed the situation to a critical point. The landlord, who has been without a job for some time, is now facing the harsh reality of potentially losing her property. This situation has sparked outrage among Dalton residents who feel betrayed by Henyard's disregard for their struggles. As Henyard continues to live a life of luxury, the community is left to wonder how she can justify her spending habits while defaulting on basic responsibilities. This unfolding saga serves as a stark reminder of the need for accountability among public officials. Many in the community are expressing shock and disbelief at the disconnect between Henyard's opulent lifestyle and the everyday challenges faced by her constituents. As the eviction proceedings continue, residents are left hoping for a resolution that holds their leaders accountable for their actions. The video capturing Henyard's rise and potential fall has gone viral, resonating with those who seek transparency and responsibility from their elected officials. With investigations ongoing, it remains to be seen what other repercussions Henyard might face as she navigates the fallout from her choices. The question looms: will she be able to maintain her high-flying lifestyle, or will the realities of her financial decisions come crashing down? The unfolding drama is one that many will be watching closely, as it highlights the pressing issues of integrity and responsibility in local governance.
I have to pay a special process server in order to get them served, which is more fees for me.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tumultuous tenure has taken another dramatic turn as she faces an eviction battle over her residence, adding to the growing list of controversies surrounding her leadership. The property owner, fed up with the situation, has reportedly placed Henyard on a month-to-month lease, signaling that her days in the home are numbered. While this eviction may seem like a personal issue related to unpaid rent, it has become a broader symbol of the controversies that have marred her governance and public image. Mounting allegations of reckless spending of taxpayer dollars, attempts to block transparency efforts, and an ongoing FBI investigation have painted Henyard's time in office as a spectacle of unchecked power and chaos. For many residents of Dalton, this eviction represents not just a housing dispute, but a failure of leadership that has left them questioning her commitment to the role and the ethical foundation of her administration. Critics have long condemned Henyard's spending habits, claiming she has diverted public funds to support a lifestyle that starkly contrasts with the economic struggles faced by her community. Reports of extravagant trips, fine dining, and lavish events funded by taxpayer dollars have left many residents feeling betrayed and angry, especially as they contend with inadequate public services and ballooning debt. The disconnect between her leadership and the town's needs has deepened the chasm between Henyard and her constituents. This latest conflict over her residents encapsulates the broader dysfunction of her administration, highlighting a pattern of avoiding accountability and prioritizing personal comfort over community welfare. Transparency issues have also plagued Henyard's tenure, with repeated attempts by journalists, trustees, and watchdog organizations to access financial records met with resistance. Requests for information have been ignored, even when ordered by higher authorities, forcing legal battles to pry open the layers of secrecy surrounding her administration. Henyard's apparent disregard for responsibility extends to her eviction battle, as she has reportedly failed to address concerns regarding rent payments and lease obligations. This consistent defiance of accountability has become a defining trait of her leadership, raising questions about whether she truly considers herself answerable to anyone. Compounding these issues, an FBI investigation into Henyard's financial practices and alleged misuse of public funds has added further weight to the swirling controversies. Federal agents are probing claims of financial mismanagement, political intimidation, and the misuse of funds disguised as charitable initiatives. Observers have noted troubling parallels between this investigation and the allegations surrounding her eviction. There is a growing sense that Henyard operates without fear of consequences, confident in her untouchability even as scrutiny intensifies. This perception that she disregards legal and ethical standards has fueled outrage among Dalton residents, many of whom have called for her resignation or outright removal from office. Critics point to her ability to block transparency and stall accountability efforts as evidence of a larger strategy to evade scrutiny. Despite attempts by trustees and residents to initiate audits of her spending and investigate her alleged misconduct, Henyard has responded with vetoes, delays, and accusations of political attacks. Her narrative of being a victim of unjust persecution is increasingly resonating less as new allegations emerge, and trust in her administration continues to erode with both her public and private affairs under fire. Henyard's challenges appear insurmountable. The eviction drama, while personal, is merely the tip of the iceberg in a series of mounting allegations that extend far beyond her residence. Among the most damning accusations is her mishandling of Dalton's finances, highlighted by an investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. This investigation has revealed that Dalton's general fund is running an alarming deficit of $3.65 million, painting a grim picture of financial mismanagement in a village already struggling with limited resources. Meanwhile, the FBI has launched its own probe into her administration, uncovering allegations ranging from wrongful termination lawsuits to indirect involvement in a sexual assault case. These developments have intensified public outrage over Henyard's alleged misuse of power, leaving her leadership teetering on the edge of collapse. In addition to these scandals, Henyard is grappling with scrutiny in her role as Thoron Township supervisor. Trustees from the township have joined the chorus demanding transparency regarding her financial dealings. Critics describe her actions as blatant misuse of public funds, further inflaming tensions among residents and fueling calls for her resignation. Lawrence Gardner, a local business owner, has publicly alleged that his trucking company was coerced into donating $3,500 to Henyard's campaign in exchange for securing village licenses. When Gardner ceased contributing, his license renewal was abruptly denied, suggesting a pattern of behavior that reflects a pay-to-play scheme exploiting local businesses. Gardner, along with other disillusioned Dalton residents, has reportedly been interviewed by the FBI as part of the deepening investigation into Henyard's administration, indicating that the federal probe is widening and bringing even greater pressure to bear on the embattled mayor. Adding another layer of controversy is Henyard's nonprofit organization, Tiffany Henyard Cares, which has come under fire for its questionable operations. Ostensibly established to provide support for cancer patients, the charity has drawn criticism for failing to file legally required financial reports, prompting the Illinois Attorney General's office to issue a cease and desist letter. This latest revelation casts doubt on the legitimacy of Henyard's philanthropic efforts, with critics questioning whether the nonprofit has served as a vehicle for personal enrichment rather than genuine community support. These suspicions echo broader concerns about Henyard's priorities as a leader, as many residents increasingly view her administration as characterized by self-interest, secrecy, and a disregard for public accountability. Once hopeful for progress under Henyard's leadership, residents of Dalton are now grappling with a sense of betrayal as reports of her alleged misconduct pile up. From lavish travel expenses and unapproved luxury purchases to an unwillingness to address basic infrastructure needs, Henyard's actions have fueled the perception that she prioritizes personal indulgence over the well-being of the community. As the FBI probe continues, many residents have already rendered their verdict, expressing anger and frustration at the state of their village. Public trust in Henyard's administration has all but evaporated, leaving Dalton's future clouded by uncertainty as its financial woes deepen. Compounding the scandal is Henyard's apparent resistance to transparency efforts, an attitude that has exacerbated tensions with village trustees and watchdog organizations. Requests for spending records have been met with stonewalling, prompting lawsuits and state intervention to force compliance. This pattern of evasion has become emblematic of Henyard's approach to leadership, raising red flags about her commitment to accountability. Critics argue that the lack of transparency is part of a deliberate strategy to obscure a web of financial mismanagement and ethical lapses at a time when Dalton is struggling to address basic needs like public safety, education, and infrastructure. This veil of secrecy feels like a slap in the face to taxpayers who have been left to wonder where their money has gone even as her administration faces mounting pressure. Henyard continues to present herself as a victim of political attacks. However, this narrative rings hollow for many residents, particularly in light of the stark financial realities they face. Reports of businesses being coerced into donating to her campaign, coupled with the misuse of her nonprofit and allegations of excessive spending, suggest a leader increasingly out of touch with the challenges her community endures as the eviction battle unfolds. It becomes clear that Henyard's challenges are not merely personal, but a reflection of a broader leadership crisis in Dalton. The property owner's decision to pursue eviction signals a growing unwillingness to tolerate what many see as a lack of respect for agreements and obligations. Similarly, residents are questioning Henyard's reluctance to honor even the simplest commitments, further eroding her credibility. In the midst of these challenges, Henyard finds herself ensnared in a multifaceted storm of controversy, scandals, and investigations that cast a long shadow over her leadership. The eviction drama, while personal, serves as a potent symbol of the growing sentiment that she has overstayed her welcome, not just in her current home, but in the mayor's office itself. For a town already strained by financial hardship, broken services, and mounting debt, Henyard's actions have become emblematic of a leadership crisis as residents wonder how much longer the drama will continue before a resolution is reached. It is clear that the future of Dalton remains uncertain. The combination of an eviction battle, allegations of impropriety, and federal investigations paints a picture of an administration in freefall, leaving many to question the path forward for their community. Henyard's allies have largely remained silent or withdrawn from the limelight, leaving her increasingly isolated as calls for accountability grow louder. The stakes have never been higher, and the residents of Dalton are left to grapple with the implications of their mayor's choices.
More interviews out of me. As long as y'all good to me, I'll be good to you. I have no issues. I just wanted people to say my side of the story and not just paint me as bad news, because it's not the truth, and y'all been witnessing it yourselves.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor has taken another tumultuous turn, prompting urgent discussions about the financial state of Dalton and her increasingly controversial position. In light of ongoing lawsuits, a federal investigation, and an impending eviction notice, her spokesman asserts that Henyard is unaware of any FBI inquiries or subpoenas. Yet, the question looms: how long can she maintain her grip on power amid such chaos? For the first time in 30 years, a Democratic caucus was held to nominate candidates for Thornton Township's leadership positions, including the coveted supervisor role. However, Henyard found herself unable to get her name on the ballot. Her slate fell apart because she failed to include a professional assessor, a basic requirement that immediately disqualified her state senator Napoleon Harris. Also, the Thornton Township Democratic committeeman seized the opportunity to organize the caucus, effectively sidelining Henyard's re-election attempt. When Harris was officially nominated, the crowd erupted in applause, while Henyard stood visibly flustered. In a striking display of defiance, she stormed the caucus venue in a hot pink outfit, yelling accusations of an unfair process against Harris and his team. Henyard's attempt to rally support by bringing in buses of her followers backfired when many arrived late, leaving them outside in the cold. Her fury was palpable as she accused the caucus of being unlawful and vowed to sue everyone involved. However, legal experts dismissed her threats as baseless. Harris's lawyer stated that the caucus process was legal and democratic. Further undermining her position, some attendees expressed outrage over the caucus, labeling it a fraudulent exercise. Yet, many others defended the process, arguing that those who arrived early were simply securing their positions. Henyard's loyal supporters now appear divided, with some clinging to hope, while others celebrated what many see as her downfall. As the political landscape shifts, Harris and other opponents are preparing to take control and restore order in Thornton Township. Henyard's only chance to remain in the race may be as a write-in candidate, which many consider a slim possibility at best. Residents are eager for change, and sentiments are shifting against her. Critics have long highlighted Henyard's dubious decisions and controversies, which have left Dalton and Thornton Township in disarray. One resident expressed excitement about the caucus results, while Chris Galls, the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township trustee, emphasized the community's desire for positive change. The fallout from this political upheaval continues, leaving Henyard's future as mayor uncertain as she navigates a rapidly shifting landscape of public opinion and political allegiance.
The people will put me on the ballot. So we're doing the legal routes, which you guys heard me speak to yesterday, and we will be on the ballot.
Tiffany Henyard's administration has come under intense scrutiny, with many residents feeling that her leadership is detrimental to those she claims to represent. Accusations of poor management have plagued her tenure, ranging from an inability to keep meetings, organized allegations of misusing township resources. As she juggles her roles, many locals feel neglected, and calls for her resignation have grown louder. The current boycott by trustees Gonzalez and Carlisle highlights their frustration with what they perceive as Henyard's increasing desire for control over financial decisions, particularly regarding hiring and firing practices. Gonzalez's remarks resonated with community members who feel that Henyard's actions have gone too far. While Henyard defends herself by framing the trustees' actions as obstruction, critics argue that her leadership has created an environment where accountability is lacking. Although she raises concerns about residents being left unprotected due to a lack of insurance, detractors view this as another attempt to deflect blame for issues she has contributed to. Support for the trustees is strong among some residents, while others see Henyard's legal threats as desperate attempts to cling to power. Many sympathize with her claims of voter suppression and the alleged illegality of the caucus process, but others criticize her for leaving the township in a state of uncertainty. As one resident put it, "I'm a wife and mother of 3, and my family is suffering as a result." Henyard's leadership has created a chaotic environment in Dalton, characterized by financial difficulties and a lack of basic services. As Thornton Township stakes rise, questions loom. Will she overcome growing opposition and secure her place on the ballot, or will the chaos attributed to her leadership lead to her political downfall? In a surprising move, Henyard made a statement following the release of a damning preliminary report by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. The report revealed a staggering $3.65 million deficit in Dalton's general fund, along with accusations of unchecked credit card spending, misuse of taxpayer money, and questionable expenditures on lavish perks and self-promotion. Among the report's shocking findings was an instance of $40,000 worth of Amazon purchases in a single day, with no explanation of where the funds went. Additionally, police overtime spending has skyrocketed, with some officers receiving overtime pay that exceeds their base salaries. Reports indicate one officer earned $188,000 in overtime last year, more than double their $72,000 base wage. Despite the mounting crisis, Henyard has remained largely silent, avoiding media questions and keeping village staff in the dark about her whereabouts. For months, trustees like Brittany Norwood have expressed concerns about Dalton's financial records and a lack of transparency, fearing the actual debt may be even higher than reported. Norwood has been particularly vocal about being denied access to bank statements. The allegations against Henyard include misappropriation of public funds for personal and political gain, which are bolstered by advertisements and billboards featuring her name, funded by taxpayer dollars. The recent case of Deputy Chief Louis Lacey, placed on administrative leave after racking up $96,000 in overtime last year alone, raises serious questions about the oversight of Dalton's finances, with creditors claiming cash reserves are running low. Lightfoot study suggests that Dalton's financial woes are symptomatic of a systemic lack of accountability. As the village's finances teeter on the brink of collapse, many residents are left wondering, where is Henyard? Critics argue that her silence speaks volumes, whether it indicates a planned defense or an evasion of responsibility. As the community grapples with the implications of her leadership, it is clear that Henyard's administration is facing unprecedented challenges, leaving residents to contend with the fallout of her tenure.